Hello everyone and welcome back to a buff breakdown. So we got day 7, the final day of the strengthening campaign, and today we got the 5-star Lancer buff, and much like my prediction, it landed on Lancer Artoria. And yeah, this is not April Fools. I do consider her the weakest 5-star Lancer, so very much deserved on this buff, even if I wanted to see it on Ritra anyway. Now it is a skill buff, so let's see what we are working with here. So this is her second buff ever. It's a buff to her second skill, the base charisma. So previously on a 5-turn cooldown, she gave the party 18% attack for 3 turns, and that was it. How boring, how underwhelming for a 5-star skill, just not very good. The only positive is like the uptime. So let's see what they changed. So now we got Wild Hunt B+. So first of all, on the same 5-turn cooldown, the full party gets 20% attack over 3 turns now, so a 2% increase because the number just looks way nicer. But then we got 2 new lines. The party now also gets 20% MP damage for 3 turns, and further, all allies that are Knights of the Round traits get 30% MP damage for 3 turns. So allies that have that trait now get 50% MP damage for 3 turns. And if you were wondering, obviously, yes, she herself also has this trait. And this does not actually exclude her, which I was pleasantly surprised about, because a lot of these are like, you know, excluding self, but this one is full party wide as well. So at first, when I wanted to see her buff, I was like, please buff her MP. It does like negative damage. It's so bad. It's very basic. It's just not pretty, and that's basically all she had, because face guarding on her wasn't really all that impressive either. But honestly, this more or less is kind of an MP buff, because she gets 70% combined damage from this now, with 2 of the buffs being obviously multiplicative as well. That's pretty insane. Like when they first buffed her first skill, this mana burst, and it's still only 1 turn effects, we just added power mods. I was very disappointed because this was so, not only was it niche, the uptime still sucks. It didn't really help with her farming numbers either too much. It's just weak. But man, this is kind of an insane buff, potentially giving spread 50 and most importantly improving her own damage that much more. And of course, being on a 5-turn cooldown means that you can stack this with Koyan Light on farming already on turn 2, which is pretty insane. So her turn 2 and especially turn 3 damage will be quite really impressive now, if I had to guess. Again, her MP is not buffed, her attack stat isn't super high for a Lancer, but wave 3 she's gonna have 100% MP damage up, 40% attack, and 50% buster up, and that's not even factoring in potential these anti-alignments as well. Very interesting. With Oberon, obviously, that damage will spike pretty high because he's gonna just double her MP damage effects. So, with AC such as Rising Mudrain already on top, honestly, I'm really excited to see her damage numbers, even if Wave 1 especially will still probably be fairly weak. But even without an MP buff now, she should be hitting way harder on farming. Now, is she still going to be good outside of farming? I almost want to say no, but maybe there is some potential for this spread 50 as well, on top of the spread 20 attack for this MP damage, depending on who you pair her with. Dude, this is a pretty insane skill now. Like, what is this? Okay, very interesting. So, on our tier list this year, some weeks ago, we placed her in a flat C, which was by far the lowest SSR. The only one who was, closest to being the lowest was Bryn, and she was already at a B rank. So, with this, I would say she's now... Is minimum B plus too much? Or maybe it's even low. I actually don't know. I would need to see the numbers first. I don't have them obviously yet because I'm covering this buff as this comes out. But I'm sure JR Tamula and Opal will be updating the sheet. In fact, I'm just going to link the sheet in the description of this video as well, which I normally never include there. So whenever the numbers are up, you can just go check there and see how her new farming numbers will be. Because again, even without the upgraded MP, I still feel like she's going to hit really hard on farming now. But yeah, we'll see. But wow, this is This is a much deserved and a very, very solid buff, even if it's not an MP buff. So there you go. There is no prediction for tomorrow anymore, unless they decide to do another buff anyway. Honestly, there is a small chance, because tomorrow we are getting a rerun of the Ranmaru Gura Gura event for 3 weeks in anticipation of Ordeal Call 4. So honestly, they could do more buffs with that rerun as well. So never say never. There could still be stuff tomorrow as well. But for the buff campaign, this is it. And honestly, I have to say, I love this campaign. It's amazing. Not a single servant who was buffed was already really strong. Every single buff landed on weaker servants, and that's amazing. That's the standard we should be going for, making these weaker servants more up to par with some of the more better options in their respective classes and roles. So an amazing buff campaign. I'm actually very happy with this. So thank you, Lasagna. Good job with this one. So on that note, if you enjoyed this video, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button on it. It really helps out, and do subscribe not to miss out on future videos, because again, while this buff campaign is now over, we're still gonna pump out a lot of videos, like tier list for instance. Maybe I'll even try for Draco again this week, remains to be seen. But yeah, lots of content on the way regardless. Shout out to my patrons on the screen right now, and Suit for being a big YouTube tier member supporter, and have a great rest of the week, my dudes, and I'll see ya on the next video. Bye bye.